Alright, so today this video is going to cover pattern feature and pattern curve. Okay? So the difference between the two is that pattern feature will want to make a whole feature in 3D. Pattern curve is for when you're in a 2D sketch. And it will make sense once I open one up. So I'm going to just make a sketch right here. I'll make a little rectangle. Oh, turn off continuous auto dimensioning. There we go. Next I'm going to make a little smaller rectangle in here so that I can pattern. Okay? Now, if you notice, if I select pattern feature, this entire thing highlights, and I get an issue right there, okay? Because this wants to select all of the things inside of the sketch, so it won't work. So what you have to do is scroll down to here, to pattern curve, and now you see I can individually select these different quote-unquote curves, right? It's all rectangle. Okay. Now we have selected our curve. You can also notice that this bottom left corner also tells us the next step, along with pretty much here. So you'll see anything with that little red star is the next thing. We're going to go linear just to make this the basic. We'll cover linear and circular, but first we'll start with linear. Select linear object. This pretty much means the direction. So in this case, we just want it to go to the right, so I can select the x-axis. And there we go. Now it's just a matter of defining how we want to do it. So here we have the count and pitch. So count is how many there are, pitch is distance between the two, and you're free to change that. So you notice pitch goes further. For this class, I think it might be easiest to always just do count and span. Okay? What this means is that, well, so the count is how many that are there, right? Span is how far it spans, if that makes any sense. So if well, let's increase this to like 4, and you'll notice these get super cramped. So what we have to do is increase the span distance, or the total distance that our pattern is going to go. So we can do it here, or we can just change the number in here, 4. Okay, and I pressed escape, and everything went away, so you'll have to press OK to make sure your stuff goes in. If you press escape, it'll delete count and span. I highly recommend just sticking with count and span, okay? These two are only really if you know the exact thing, but I think count and span makes the most sense, like in your mind when you're thinking about it. So count 5 and 4, because I just eyeballed these. I don't have actual distances. Well, 3.35. That'll work, and that's pretty much all there is to that step. Now we're going to cover the same thing, but in a circle. So I'm going to go ahead and make a circle right there. Then I'm going to make, I think I should be okay just doing it like this. If not, then we can fix that. Make another circle without it getting constrained. Alright, fine. Okay. And this one I'm going to set as reference. So that way I can make a circle in there. Perfect. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to pattern this to go all the way around. So the same idea, I'll use pattern curve. I'll select this. I'll change this to circular. Specify point means the center point, the one that it's going to revolve. So for this, I want to specify this center point. And then we go to pitch and span. And you see that the span is now at an angle, so it's at 110. So if I want it to go all the way around, I do 360. And it evenly placed those circles. 10. You should get more space between. Alright, and that's all there is to patterning in 2D. Let's go ahead and delete this one, so that way we can play a little bit more. I'm going to extrude this. You guys notice that it has those little holes in there. I'm going to go ahead and delete those. And that should make it, yeah. Now it's whole. Now I'm going to pattern I'm going to do the same thing but in 3D. So I need a sketch on this plane. I'm going to make my rectangles all over again. In this case, it doesn't matter if I had the other constraints because I'm just eyeballing everything. Pattern feature, and then I select this, specify my vector. I want it to go that way, and it will go further. You know, I actually did this in the wrong order. It shouldn't matter, but yeah, I want this to be shooting out. So it has that little peg. And now pattern feature. It wouldn't matter how I did it. It's just I want to highlight how to pattern 3D shapes. Count and span. And let's put 3. And then span it. And it's okay. And they'll pop up. You notice how this time everything doesn't come out until I press OK. That's it'd be too computationally expensive for it to dynamically change. Alright? And you do the exact same thing whenever you're making a circle. So let's make this one. Extrude this. Sketch on here. And again, we're just going to be making eyeball some circles. Now this time, I'm going to make it go into the shape, and I'm going to subtract. So that way I have a hole in there. And it didn't go through. Did I not? Oh. Okay, so now I have the hole. I do pattern feature. This time I want it to be circular. I want to specify the point. You have to try to pick up that. And now, you notice how here it's a little more complicated than last time because now we have to specify a vector. What this means is that's the vector that it's going to rotate around. Okay, so we want it to go this way. So that means I would have to select this vector. If I selected the x-axis, it would rotate around the x. If I selected the y, it'd rotate around the y. Okay, notice that we want it to go kind of like this, which means that it has to go around this vector. And you see how they go around? Let me see if it'll let me change the vector on the fly. Yeah, you see how it goes this way now? Or if I select this vector, it would go around that one. So we want the Z. Oh, I accidentally selected a lot of things while I was doing that. Yeah, there we go. Let me reset this, that way it doesn't get all weird. Yeah, I clicked too many stuff as I was showing that one off. Circular, vector, z-axis, specify point. There we go. And let's go ahead, go to pitch and span. Let's do 275. And let's make that 11. Could go up. You notice it will try to force it even though these will conflict with each other if I go too high. But you know, on exams and stuff, we'll always give you the amount that's on there. You can just count it. Press OK. Now notice how it did not get the extrude. That's because I selected the circle, not the extrude feature. But to do that, it's the same step. You can just click that, subtract, select the body you want it to subtract from, and then just fix these. Okay? I didn't go all the way through. Again, I'm just eyeballing it. Okay? Now, I believe I can get this to pattern feature there we go. And now this one should be cut. You can do it whichever way you want it to. Okay? And that's pretty much everything there is to pattern feature.